The climate of Finland is influenced most by its latitude. Finland is located between 60 and 70 n. Because of Finland's northern location, winter is the longest season. Only on the south coast and in the southwest is summer as long as winter. On average, winter lasts from early January to late February in the outermost islands in the archipelago, and the warmest locations along the southwestern coast, notably in Hanko, and from early October to mid-May in the most elevated locations, such as northwestern Lapland and the lowest valleys in northeastern Lapland. This means that southern portions of the country are snow-covered about 3 to 4 months of the year, and the northern for about 7 months. The long winter causes about half of the annual 500 to 600 millimeters precipitation in the north to fall as snow. Precipitation in the south amounts to about 600 to 700 millimeters annually. Like that of the north, it occurs all through the year, though not so much of it is snow. The climate of Finland has characteristics of both maritime and continental climate. The Atlantic Ocean to the west and the Eurasian continent to the east interact to modify the climate of the country. The warm waters of the Gulf Stream and the North Atlantic Drift Current, which continuously warm the region, play a big role in the climate of Norway, Sweden and Finland. If it weren't for these currents, the winters in Scandinavia and Fennoscandia would be much colder. Westerly winds bring the warm air currents into the Baltic areas and to the country's shores, moderating winter temperatures, especially in the south and southwest in cities like Helsinki and Turku, where winter highs tend to be between 0 and 5 degrees Celsius, but a cold snap like the one that occurred in mid-January 2016 can cause temperatures to plunge well below -20 degrees Celsius. The warmest annual average temperature in southwestern Finland is 6.5 degrees Celsius. From there the temperature decreases gradually towards north and east. The Suomenselkä and Månselkä drainage divides rise higher than the surrounding areas, and the climate there is cooler than at same latitudes elsewhere in Finland. The Barents Sea between Finland and the North Pole is open even in winter, so northerly airflows are not as cold as in Siberia or Alaska. The most common wind direction in Finland is from southwest, but the low pressure areas typical for these latitudes cause great variations in wind speed and direction. Storm, defined as at least one Finnish coastal station reporting at least 21 meters per second as a 10 minutes average wind speed, is observed on Finnish seas on average 19 days a year. Strong winds are most frequent between October and January. The first snow cover is observed on average in September in Lapland, and in November in southern and western areas. Permanent snow cover time starts typically around Christmas in the southwestern corner, but before mid-November in most of Lapland. The maximum snow depth is usually found around March. Snow and supercooled droplets can accumulate in tree crowns and cause damage to trees. The trunks of pine trees can break under the weight of a snow-loaded crown, and deciduous trees can bend permanently. The snow load of a tree is typically 100 to 150 kilograms per 1 meter tree trunk, but the heaviest measured snow load of a spruce was over 3,000 kilograms. Snowmelt contributes to spring floods. In north, the peak flow of rivers always happens in spring. In the south, 70 to 80% of floods happen in spring. In the south, maximum flow happens in mid-April, in the north, in mid-May. Climate change has far-reaching impacts on the natural environment and people of Finland. Finland was among the top 5 greenhouse gas emitters in 2001. On a per capita basis, emissions increased to 58.8 million tons in 2016. Finland needs to triple its current cuts to emissions in order to be carbon neutral by 2035. Finland relies on coal and peat for its energy, but plans to phase out coal by 2029. Finland has a target of carbon neutrality by the year 2035 without carbon credits. The policies include nature conservation, more investments in trains, changes in taxation and more sustainable wood burning. After 2035, Finland will be carbon negative, meaning soaking more carbon than emitting.